Welcome to the AI-powered digital model studio.
Today, I'm here with the founder of Lalaland.ai, and we're going to be discussing some interesting topics in relation to AI and the work they're doing and what it means to like revolutionize the e-commerce business and the old-fashioned industry. So if you just want to start by introducing yourself, your name, what you did before, what is the goal of the company, what is the agenda, and like do you guys want to talk about the e-commerce problem, or are you willing to say small? So if you want to take it from there.
Yeah, sure. Once again, as I mentioned, thanks a lot for having us. And my name is Michael Musandu. I'm the founder and CEO of Lalaland. Background actually from an engineering perspective, so undergrad in computer science, postgrad in artificial intelligence. And Lalaland actually started with a real massive problem of people feeling underrepresented online. I say that as a person of color when I had a shopping experience where I never got to see models that looked like me up until today. So it meant that I was shopping at certain brands that were showing models that would resemble me, or either having just poor supported purchase decisions because I had to always guess what this garment was going to translate on my own self or someone who at least looked like me. And that was the main reason Lalaland started. We were just really trying to show at least more to have a better representation on the online shopping environment. What this means is we're here to supplement traditional photography and not replace it. Instead of seeing one model wearing one product from a shopping experience perspective, we would hope that you can supplement your traditional photo shoot and actually have, let's say, 9 or 6 different models on one product that are shown in different body sizes, different ages, and different complexions, just so that when you're online shopping, you can actually get better representation to see what garment is going to translate onto your body. So we really do need to work hand in hand with real models. And that's our goal. If any brand is serious about inclusion efforts, they should not scale down at all the traditional photo shoots. They should continue hiring diverse models.
All right, interesting. I'm glad you said for different body size because I used to sell on ASOS Marketplace, and I mean ASOS is very. If you go on their website, they have a lot of device models, and I think even during the pandemic, when a lot of brands couldn't do photo shoot, the solution would have been perfect. During time, it would be perfect. I think it's like to see what the clothes look like on the different models, like whether they be tall, skinny, big, short, colored, white, to see like a device audience. And I think there's a word we have called universal appeal. You market your product in a way that you attract different demographic. You can reach a lot more people. Yes, I think when I first saw the search you guys online, I was really intrigued because this is a problem that I think at some stage someone has to step up and like solve the problem. Not only just for inclusion, it just means like the social aspect is you're solving an inclusion problem. But if you look at it, you're also solving a big problem. Like if you got like a lot of inventory, let's say you have a catalog of clothes, and you're trying to shoot them. And I've done photography, and I know what the level of work it takes to take 2,000 products, 300 products. It's so much effort, So I just want to ask, how the idea came about, and how did you maybe start from when you first prototype? What problems did you just a little bit about how this technology works? How did you come up with the concept? How did you replicate the models, and how would you guys get enough sample size to know which way to take it?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's good to give an overall projection of Lalaland, and what it entails is basically 2 main pillars, which is first social empowerment and then sustainable impact. So the social empowerment part is what you mentioned earlier, where we're empowering both brands and consumers to pluralize the beauty standard by making the web as diverse as the market is. And we do so by generating these digital models using generative AI. And the second pillar on sustainable impact. So because we also help support the purchase decision, you're going to reduce how much returns intrinsically are caused. And unfortunately, in fashion, like, they have a bit of a dirty little secret that most returns end up in landfills or incinerators, which is actually harming our environment. So these are two more main pillars that we have. Beyond e-commerce, which is just the end use case, we actually start early on in the value chain of fashion. So during design stage, we work with 3D products. So a lot of fashion brands are now going through this digital transformation of using software providers like Clo3D, Browseware to actually generate and create their garments. So instead of having physical samples, we're actually leveraging digital samples at the early stages, which means designers for the first time can actually find their total addressable market while designing. So they can design clothing on different looking AI models and then tweak designs before even going into the next stage. The next stage would be on key looks, what happens from a B2B perspective of selling. So you'll have a brand going to other retailers, or you'll have a brand that sells globally with different type of markets and regions that show different models serving that exact market. So that also helps with the reducing overproduction that's going to be produced because there's better merchandising that's done. Then, of course, direct to consumer, the last part, which you just mentioned, where they'll use those assets to then put online and showcase and enrich their product offerings with these digital offerings. So we do digitize the entire value chain until e-commerce, from design until actual on model, in a couple of minutes. So instead of planning to do any shoots, which is very tedious because you have to hire real models, photographers, venues, makeup artists, you're working with third parties. This is happening on average 2 to 8 times collection by collection for every brand. So in their defense, I could understand why it's infeasible to showcase all these different models on one product, just because purely on a cost without them having...
Not just cost, the time. I mean, I've done a fashion show. It's just the amount of time and energy that goes into it. It's very time consuming. Sometimes models don't show up, sample doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And maybe they can't show, I mean, it's an interesting time we're living in. I think you guys came at the right time, because you're solving a real problem, Another question I wanted to ask you, how do you personally deal with the mixed reaction from people in the creative field regarding AI generated models?
Yeah, I think it's critical to have these type of conversations also on the broader landscape of AI right now, regarding ensuring that it's being deployed in a responsible and ethical way. It's critical. So we welcome these type of conversations. And for us, it was good to get feedback from different type of users to ensure that you're doing this correctly. When I mean correctly, like, we're refining also as we're deploying this technology, like AI principles. AI principles could simply be showing every time you see a generated image, maybe a user should actually know that it is generated by AI as a tagline, just so you have that transparency. So these are the type of things that we've actually been able to learn from users' engagement and users' reactions based off them actually now experiencing this synthetic media. We're doing something extremely new, right? Like really revolutionizing and bringing something new to market. So I do think that you need to have conversation from different type of stakeholders, diverse stakeholders, that as a community collectively, that we make sure this tool called AI is here to serve humanity. I think that's the most important thing. And that's what we got from the reaction and the feedback. Another thing was just looking at how we actually create the images, like the models, etc. So because this is just machine learning and we use deep learning to do so, it requires real data and different types of data that we source proprietary to ourselves. It wasn't possible for us to scrape the internet just due to, first of all, the internet has biases. It's not diverse enough, which meant for us, we actually created a lot of monetization opportunities and revenue streams for communities. And a lot of these communities are underrepresented communities. So we could license and purchase data. Could be data of like hairstyles that we feed into the algorithm, then it then starts outputting. But that's a really new thing. That's from a job creation perspective, where people are now monetizing, folks are monetizing their data just to actually train these algorithms. So it's unique and it's very different. I think this is where the industry as a whole is going to be shifting towards. For us as Lalaland, it's not only the global brands that we're supporting, we're also helping brands that are just starting out who have no budgets to even shoot. So you can think of emerging brands that you're helping the underdog really level the playing field, where they can have models as good in quality as global brands, so they can compete head to head against each other. And that's what the offering is. It's not just like these global brands being able to do things more fast and effective, but it's really an offering that you're going to see across different boards.
I just heard something there. I remember when I started selling on places. I've been doing marketplace photography, and I've been doing it for a long time. And the process of lending out pictures, to even get the picture to a point that it's like crystal clear, to like it's like you can say, it's my picture quality is on par. It's a big brand, it takes skill and it takes a lot. You need it's not just something, you need like in life experience as well, someone guiding you. A lot of research, and it takes time to develop. I think what you're doing is like you're getting people that would maybe never have this time to learn the skill, like this software, all these tools to buy a camera. It's right. It could be, I don't know, that's a lot of money up front. I think costs a lot of money for studio rent. I mean, you guys are really, you're solving a real problem. A lot of people that will not have the initial budget to initially to put up front. They can have access to that. I just have an idea that popped into my head. Are there any plans to collaborate with a model agency and consider licensing maybe your software to incorporate an AI generated models into their work? So if they have a book of models, like let's say Elite, for example, Elite Model Management, all the top models, or maybe they could be a local model agency. But the way the model is, like sometimes you take pictures of the model and then they say, okay, you have usage right for the year, and then if you need it for another year for campaign, whatever, we can do the license. So just out of curiosity, is that something that you guys maybe down the line, or you just too early? It's too early to go down that route.
It definitely could be. I could understand what you're saying, like where you have strategic partnerships, whether it's going to be X type of agency or Y type of agency. It's really dependent on what we're trying to do is showcase a better sense of reality that doesn't exist already, which means that sometimes that we have to actually get new type of data coming in. So I'll give you an example. Like when I talk about minority groups, like the next steps for us is actually looking at like groups of people with disabilities that we can get this type of data, people with different gender identifications, just so we can feed the algorithm this type of data. And if there are agencies already who have this type of data and are willing to license and allow us to purchase, for sure. But what I'm just trying to say is like when you go to the bigger agencies, you might be missing these subsets that are super important for us to showcase this representation. And you can never be perfect. We've never made claims that using our solution makes you diverse or inclusive. We're just trying to do better, right? We're just trying to show more representation in whatever way. So that's really a focus for us. It's not really just getting the top models, but it's more focusing on these minority groups or the underrepresented ones online. And those are the people, folks that we really would love to work with in terms of licensing and getting their data, so we can they can earn from it, and we can then show better representation.
Okay. Do you envision Lalaland having a significant impact on e-commerce landscape, and how would it affect creatives in general?
It's an interesting question. Like, I think regarding the impact, I'm just really happy that we've started to have these type of conversations, and a lot of new software providers are now coming to solve this problem. So I'm just glad that by conceptualizing this company and bringing it to market, that whether it's just Lalaland or other providers and other folks, they're going to be people in this space that are going to be moving the needle forward. And I'm just honored that I get to contribute, and we do as a team, towards like moving that needle forward. Because it's one thing of talking about it, a different thing actually taking action and putting it to market. So whether it's us that completely revamps the landscape, that's something time will tell. But one thing that I'm really happy is that it's it's really stimulated a lot of conversation and a lot of thought process regarding, okay, let's start solving this massive problem that's ahead of us. So that's how I see it.
Okay, I have an idea that led me to your website was because I really I just downsized my clothing business into a smaller, and to organize the photo shoot sometimes maybe time constraints. So what I was doing was I was taking flat lay, where you put the garments, the physical garment, on the floor, and then you take a picture or you put it on a mannequin. So here's my question. I was thinking, with your technology, you think maybe, I know your work of files have been generated already. Do you think that will be? I mean, because I have a lot of people that sell in marketplaces, like a lot of people, like the huge niche in its own. Like if I could take 20 pictures on my phone or my camera, and I can just have a virtual model with them, and it comes to life like your real model. I mean, that's game changing. So I just wanted to get your input on that, or maybe if that's something you guys have in the back burner, or maybe right now you might explore that option later.
I mean, for now, our focus really is on 3D digital products, just so that the physics is understood very correctly. So with other different type of techniques, when you don't control what the input levels, you have discrepancies on the quality. For us, the quality of the output is so important. It's crucial and something that we stand behind, which means that, fortunately enough, like a lot of brands are going through this digital transformation. So I'll put in the chat just so you can see the 3D providers I'm talking about. And these could be brands or freelancers that are just starting out. It could be global brands that are more established, but they're all going through this digital transformation. And I'm putting in the chat just these two providers. There's a whole ecosystem of other computer-aided design is what they call it. I've just put Code 3 in browser just so you can see what I mean. But a lot of players are moving towards this, and this means itself based on two big things happening now on the macro environment. So first, like there's the geopolitical situation of the war, unfortunately, which means that supply chain is very difficult. A lot of brands that tend to manufacture, let's say in East Asia, are having issues actually getting supply samples on time, which is why they're now leveraging 3D, because in 3D, it's immediate. It creates it. Then the macroeconomic situation of just there's a bit of a downturn in the market that people are cost saving. Brands are looking for more effective way to do things. And 3D, you talked about the time to market, which is really important, and just that cost. So those two macro things is really helping fashion from a digital transformation. It's a very traditional industry, but we've seen so much motion in 3D right now. And that's what we leverage just to make sure you don't only solve the look, also the fit. So you must accurately, the physics when it's rendered on an AI model, it should accurately represent, also from an e-commerce perspective, beyond the bust, waist, hip size, I mean, really accurately seeing what the fit is. So you're looking at solving the look and fit.
Well, that's a really, I think what you just said right now is where you, on the people on the creative side, I can get why the outcry is, because I think that is automatically going to take away their photography business, or the model can get job. What you just mentioned right now, it shows like, no, this is not going to take away your job. This is actually having a real problem from the man, because for every problem there's a solution. And every problem is in a way it's a business in itself. So my next question is, how's your partnership with Levi's aligned with Lalaland mission? And what do you hope to achieve through this collaboration?
Sure. So just to answer the previous question, because you said something very interesting, and I just wanted to emphasize, like, I do think that co-creation is going to happen. Like when folks are using Lalaland, we need creatives. Like you need your content team. You need people who were traditionally, let's say, costume models to be using the software. We've created software that can generate any type of model, right? So it's really now understanding what that brand identity is and having a creative from the brand to actually be in the driver's seat to control what type of models are going to be generated. So we do need to work. It's just a different type of way of working than what traditionals, you're looking for real models. In our cases, you would shoot your traditional photo shoots. Then you're like, this is what I'm missing according to the audience, and this is my brand identity or our brand identity. And based on that, you use our software to actually come up with what is your brand identity, what are the models that you want to supplement, just so you can show it to your users. So we definitely still need this. The software won't work alone without human interaction. We definitely need a lot of folks to be doing so. It's just the way of working is going to be different. And that's where AI is going to augment how humans are actually going to be interacting. Then, sorry, could you repeat your last question you just mentioned?
My last question was, I thought the answer you gave was very educating. You just mentioned that companies are having logistic issues.
Yeah.
I get to some. I think like from the creative part, because you have the B2B, so you're working with businesses that have like e-commerce kind of stuff. Now there's the other part of it. There's a creative part, the photographers, the models, and then there's a consumer part which they don't really care what you get me. But I think from the creative part, you just mentioned something there that really up my heart. You just mentioned that companies are struggling with production. There's a lot of limitations that they're being forced to, and I think if you guys do a really well enough job, educate the creative part. Because there's Meet Journey right now. You have Meet Journey with photography. You see kind of stuff that's being rendered. This stuff are actually really, really good. It's so, so it's just, I think from the creative part, that they will need to come on board at some stage. But I also think if you guys do a better job on saying, listen, this is the reason, this is the problem. We understand your point, but this is the problem we're solving for a business that maybe they have logistic issues or if we don't solve this issue, it could be 2 or 3 months before a product comes from idea to completion.
Absolutely.
Another question I wanted to ask you was, have you faced any challenges with generating the models in the early days, in terms of like body size, making sure they look and fit? Before you guys came to that step where everything looks perfectly good, what challenges were talking about the technology? What challenges did you face, and like what did you have to refine to get to the exact same standard you wanted?
Right. Yeah. I personally think the technology is still nascent, so new, but we didn't happen overnight. We've been in business for the last 4 years, which meant getting a hold of the right type of data was probably the most difficult obstacle that we had to overcome. The next thing is really understanding fashion and photography. So looking at the way lighting, shadows work, makeup levels. Like now we have really deep market understanding on trends. We know from runway what's going to be in next season regarding hairstyles, new type of makeup levels. So it's just really deep market understanding of understanding which fashion models would convert or which fashion models would look best. And we put that in from the software, and then we allow the brand to do their customization. I think that's the biggest differentiation from the other parties you're talking about from who do generation. Ours is really from fashion. I think with deep market understanding on how the models look. And I appreciate the compliment saying that the quality looks really good.
No, the quality looks fantastic. Because I've searched other companies as well. I know the companies. There's like all these AI companies really try to do. There's a company in Japan. There's another company called this person is real.com. So I know like the problem that people are struggling with. This is the best I've seen so far. That I feel like the quality is if you tell me that was a catalog shoot, like I gave an example, right? If let's say a company called say Mark and Spencer, they want to shoot their catalog. They have a 3,000 product: clothes, men's, women, children, big, plus size. You could be in a. You could take months even to show all this kind of stuff, even to organize logistics unless for example, like maybe they have like, for example, like you said, if a particular model will sell, like if I shoot a t-shirt, for example, I have a t-shirt, same t-shirt, and I shoot a t-shirt on a tall model, skinny model, or do you get me? I don't necessarily know which model is going to sell the t-shirt quicker. even though they're the same size. So with your product, the company is able to split test and see which sells, what the best, or which.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think you mentioned something very critical. Yeah, like I think for the first time regarding just advanced testing, where you have so much content from models that you can actually then better visualize your audience and your consumers. You can actually visualize per product on based on what are the most popular models. You actually see what your audience for the first time really either look like or want to see. One of these two things, which I think that really empowers quite a lot of brands and consumers to have at least a better shopping experience.
How do you envision the relationship between AI models versus real models? Is it a collaboration, do you think, in the future between the two? And real models sell their image rights to be licensed?
I think hand in hand. So not just on the training data part of it. I mean, really from supplementing, you're going to need real models. You need real models that can connect, create genuine connections with consumers. You need real models. Some of them have social influence. You need your Kendall Jenners, Gigi Hadids who can, force traffic to the website. So what I do see is that campaign imagery, a lot of budgets are going to go top of the funnel from campaign imageries. Then as soon as you've created attention, once a consumer is online on your product listing page or product detail pages, then you're going to support the purchase decision. Support the purchase decisions, you will have traditional shoots, but then you'll supplement it with AI just to have a better shopping experience. So I say 100%, I see it working hand in hand. Like, I do not see a stage, especially look at a Lalaland. We don't create campaign imagery. It's images. We don't create videos, So there's a lot of limitations of where the tech is today. And where it goes 6 months to 12 months. Yeah.
That was my question on, like, you guys are doing images right now. I mean, I know video, like to train video and and make it even look realistic. I mean, there are video AI companies out there that you can hire to represent, but they don't look human-like. I think what AI is trying to do is it's for efficiency, but I think the companies can actually get it to a point you can't even tell whether it's AI or human, because you've reached you've only solved the problem. That's kind of critical, because if I want to create content, I want to put my face out there, I can just use an AI presenter. But in terms of video, I know, like, are you guys going in that direction? I mean, is there technical difficulties you're working on or is that just too much taken right now? Or are you focusing on images right now?
It's just a matter of time. So videos are just frames of images in high sequence. And it's just a matter of time regarding computation being good enough and output quality. When we put it out to the market, it will be, as you said, like, quality is going to be super important for us. So everything we put out will be measured behind quality. But of course, we've started exploring the space. Can't speak too much on that yet.
Okay, I've got just 4 or 5 more questions to go, and then we're going to wrap.
Sure.
So can you explain like the measures you take to protect, like, say, intellectual rights of artists, individuals, image use AI generated generation process?
Sure. Every data that we collect is ours. So it's proprietary. We do not scrape the internet. We won't throw anyone under the bus, but other providers. Everything that we have is proprietary. So it's not something that we just look online to get images. We collect, and we've been in business for the last 4 years. When we're processing the data, we also make sure that it's GDPR and CCPA compliant. So it means we just use techniques like differential privacy. You can cut up images into pieces that you train the algorithms. Then after the algorithm is trained, the images are deleted. So everything that we do is proprietary from a data source perspective. So I think that answers regarding we cannot infringe any IP.
Are there any plans to expand Lalaland AI into other industry, apart from passion, like other creative industries? Like, for example, just give you an example. Like, obviously you guys do like, let me just say,
sure,
campaign, for example, or maybe other creative fields that's not fashion.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. What I already see is the images and the media and the content that we create is super omni-channel. So you have like the marketeers and advertising already getting very excited, saying, "Can we not use these images top of funnel? Can we not do remarketing campaigns across socials? From Instagram or let's say wherever our buying decisions are being made." So I do think once we're done empowering fashion brands, is moving towards these different type of industries that I mentioned. And if you can solve video generation, then it becomes even broader of where it can go. But our full focus right now is on fashion and really getting it correct.
All right, can you give me another example other than Levi's? Other collaboration you guys have done that been successful, or you're currently working on, or that you've been able to get some feedback from?
Yeah, sure. I think the best thing is I can give you just a link in chat. So based on this, Forbes recently did a really good article where they interviewed a couple of brands that are using Lalaland. So feel free to use this as reference.
Okay. Just before I don't know if we can get a demo of how the process actually works. Like, because from an outsider, I just think, do you upload, like, how does it work? Like, do you just, how does the program actually work? You log in and just, is there a sequence of steps? There wasn't actually the only thing there wasn't like an explanation video or to give you an idea of what to expect. Just in my head, I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's done by you guys, or there is a customer creating an account. I just that sort of it, like, say I come to you as a customer. Yeah. Another person comes to your website. Like, how does it work, the process?
Yeah. So in April, we took the strategic decision to fully work in 3D. Before, we were doing a hybrid of allowing traditional pack shots. So you would have images that you just described, either ghost mannequin or a flat lay, that you would upload onto our platform. You would then customize the models. Then you would receive on-model imagery that you could download. After taking the strategic decision to work in 3D, means if you have any of the 3D providers that you see when you create an account, we are in the workflow of the 3D providers. So if you are using Browseware, for instance, you just have to download our plugin. So it means that in Browseware, you'll continue doing your designs, and there you will have Lalaland models available where you will then do your customization, etc. So if you have designers that are working either in Browseware or Clothes 3D, feel free to sign up. We've actually opened now, so I think you can just create an account freely, and based on that, the qualification of whether you can work with us or not is now just 3D. It's just because of the decisions that we took. So if there are any Browseware folks or Clothes 3D folks that are going to be reading this, feel free. We offer free renders just so you can actually see what the output quality is. And the process is very simple. So you just do your designs and you click export. In less than it's a couple of minutes, depending how the quality of the product render, you receive your on-model image. So the speed to market is unprecedented. You go from design to a full on-model image in, I'll say, a couple of minutes. I see on average is about 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how complicated the garment is.
Just to add to that, okay, I think another just for foresight and thinking, like say I export the clothes. Let's say I want to bring straight to my e-commerce website. I know that's another step at a time. Like I'm just thinking, like, say 1,000 people have a Shopify website, for example. Maybe they're even it's just, let's just say if I have a image of my, say, my phone or a watch that I designed myself, a asset that I designed myself, but I have the 3D designers. Is there any plan or is there any ambition, like say, automatically sync that with an e-commerce website, or to export it to your e-commerce website, or that's too far off for them?
No, sure. Like I think for certain brands that want to have like full end-to-end solutions, we do custom integrations where it goes directly from design. And typically for a way of working, if you want custom models, we actually do more of customization of really doing a deep dive in your brand identity, etc., and generating portfolios from you that you then generate that you choose from. And some brands then, of course, want to do into integrations, like what you mentioned. As soon as they design, then it goes directly, either the use case, if it's B2B, it goes into their lookbooks, so the digital asset managements in their lookbooks, or goes directly onto e-com. So there are integrations that work end to end, but we try to make it very accessible for any 3D designer. So instead of having then the requirement that, oh, you need also Shopify, a website, for example, or you need this, it's like just all you need is your 3D product. That's literally it. And you can get an on-model image. So we really try to make it as more accessible for people, folks with just different type of use cases, so they can easily use it.
Just the last question.
Sure.
Do you have any last words? And also, in terms of your PR, in terms of, like, say, growth phase, like, say, to maybe get the company from, say, startup phase to get it to, like, the mature phase, to get it to there, what are your goals to go for the next 4 or 5 years to get to a place where, like, maybe you guys are one of the top go-to platform to really address it? I think what you guys are doing here, you're addressing not just social problems, you're like pain points as well, which is really good to get a quality of that scale. So that's just my last question, to see what's the next 4 or 5 years going to look like. Do you have a plan to bring someone in internally to maybe grow the company to be a mature company? Is there any last words you have for the audience, or maybe anything you're working on that the audience would like to know?
Yeah, sure. I think intrinsically now what we've built is a global product, which means it's accessible by a hyperlink, right? So you can reach us from different type of locations and already be accessible to use. What's ahead of us is just the most critical thing now is just ethical and responsible AI, just making sure as we continue to onboard brands, whether these are designers starting out or global brands, which we'll continue to do, experiencing quite a lot of growth at the moment. It's just that making sure that this technology is going to be deployed in an ethical and responsible way. So not to repeat myself, but it's just making sure that AI is here to serve humanity as a tool, which means like we need different folks to continue this critical, nuanced conversation of how to do it best. Legislation is coming, so the EU AI Act is it's on its way. But until then, like, we voluntarily come up with some principles that we want to ensure. So that's what's next for us, is really making sure that there's ethical and responsible AI while we're deploying this.
All right, thanks for your time. It was very insightful. I like what you guys are doing. I hope you guys have great success, and I'll keep an eye on to see. Maybe we might do another part 2, maybe 6 months, a year down the line, to see what's the next steps is.
Absolutely, no, sounds good. I really appreciate consideration and the interview.
All right, thanks very much.
Sounds very good. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.